I am in Hamburg, and today we're live for the wake-up call, our first wake-up call of Future I/O of the year, and we're actually going to different locations, and we invited some of our partners, and Rui is making it special, so you can actually switch on your camera as well. And I'm really pleased to welcome two experts and innovators together with me today to discuss the sort of a kickoff of the year. Where are we going? Where are we heading? What are some of the things we're looking forward to? Now, Mila is also here. You see her on camera, and she is helping us with background questions. So if you want to share some of your experiences, if you want to, let's say, ask questions to our speakers, please feel free to write them in the chats where you watch the videos. And then Mila and the team will look at the questions, and we bring them forward so that we can ask Russ Lane and Rui and see how we can answer maybe your ideas and your questions. So I just give you a little bit of an intro. Again, we're introducing the speakers first, and then later, obviously, they each have a little statement, and then we go into a discussion. Russ Lane is working in the innovation system, so to say, of H-Farm. And H-Farm, you see the background of our screen, just introduced a brand new campus from starting a decade-long innovation journey from a creative place as an agency throughout, one of the pioneers in innovation, acceleration, working with startups and corporates, and now having even a university campus. Exciting story we will hear more about. And then Rui, I have to, obviously, my learning curve this year is to learn your last name. So Rui, you say your last name later. Coutinho, but there's probably Coutinho. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, Coutinho. From Portugal. He is the head of the innovation ecosystem, which is working with corporates and the executive program, and a very exciting new role that just started a month ago. Basically, I was lucky to be there at the inauguration, and so at Nova University, the business school, #1 business school in Portugal, right on the beach at Cascais, basically right next to it, Carcavelos. But again, we will talk about the campus, the story, the fascinating people in just a minute. And I wanted to welcome you quickly and say, well, normally this would be a week where we would be in Davos, and the World Economic Forum usually has their annual meeting during this week, and there's now everybody is going virtual, and there's different events throughout this week. But the real World Economic Forum has been moved to early summer. No date has been fixed yet, but we have let's say, a little bit of a heavy heart, not only because it's always nice to see the snow and be on the mountain, but also it's always a great kickoff. The last 2 years when it happened in 2020 and 2019, we always had a reception at this time. So Wednesday mornings to welcome about 120 people. We always had about 1,000 people on the wait list because it was a thing to do. And we had very amazing partners and sponsors and speakers who helped us put this event together. We launched a book there. And so we feel this is a great kickoff to, spend a week with like-minded people, innovating, looking at all, different angles of where sustainability hits, how the finance system goes, to, world politics, as well as, new blockchain speakers and people from concerned with the SDGs, most likely as well. So a very interesting topic, and we're trying to create a little bit of a, let's say, international feeling here as well. That's why we ask our partners to join us. And one of the things we would like to do in sort of the World Economic Forum, let's say, idea is ask you to participate where you are from. So we have a sort of a little Menti program here where you can kind of put yourself on the map, so we have a little bit of a interaction and see where you're from, you know, how early or how late you may be joining from where you are. So thank you for joining us. And now I want to start with Russ Lane. Russ Lane is, you know, from France, helping the Venice campus of H-Farm and the innovation system there. You have to tell us a little bit about your personal story, but also in the beginning, maybe just say, what is H-Farm? What are you doing there? How do you deal with innovation? And I'm happy to welcome you this early. And it seems like the sun is rising over your campus, so a very inspiring picture. But you have to also tell us that who is the famous architect who built this particular building, obviously. So there's a lot of stories. And welcome, Russ Lane, welcome, Rui, welcome, everybody. Let's get in. Here you have the microphone.
Thank you, Harald. Thank you very much for having me. So I'm Russ Lane PhD. I'm a design manager and strategist at H-Farm. And H-Farm is an innovation platform located in the north of Venice, where we have this 50-hectare campus that just has been built and inaugurated last year. We're also present in Venice and Turin, and ultimately we operate in two main areas. The first one is education, where we have students from really kindergarten to postgraduates. And the second one is innovation, where we create new business models and we support corporates in their digital transformation. And not only digital, we'll see as well sustainable transformation. And the H of H-Farm really stands for human. Yeah. That's a good reminder as well. And I work in the innovation park. So really, as an innovation consultancy, our role is to help companies build and achieve a desirable future vision. And I have to say, most of the time, the desirable future is sustainable. So of course, when it is not, we can apply some methodologies to nudge them into this direction. But most of the time, it is there. It's part of their goals, and we help them to achieve it in three ways. The first one is through building sustainable products, and especially inclusive. We worked, for example, with the University of Torino to build a voice mat, and it's an assistant to reduce the barrier of visually impaired people to pursue scientific studies. We can do it as well with corporates through design. We have a program that is called Fast Factory, where we help manufacturers to build more sustainable product quicker. We redesigned the product to make it more accessible and tick 4 of the SDG goals, for example. So the output, let's say, is something that we can work on. But ultimately, for us, like innovation or digital transformation, we believe that there is no sustainable impact without cultural change. So that's why we also work at cultural level. And that's the second really key thing that we do at H-Farm, because obviously through training, we've built, for example, a corporate responsibility summer school for a client. We have our own training platform called Mace Plus. So training is something, but then there is really the change management aspect, I would say. So this example that I give you, this manufacturer that we helped, our goal was really to help them to ideate in autonomy, so they wouldn't have to ask us every time they need to iterate on an innovation cycle. So we designed the program to empower them to do it. First year we did it with them. Second year we were just mentors. Third year they do it alone. So that's also a way to introduce change and innovation and really impact without being always behind. No, so that's the second part. And I would say the third thing as well is building alliances, because when we don't have internally the capabilities, we're not sustainable, 100% sustainable expert at all. But we can count on our network, because the DNA of Farm as well is to be an incubator. So we founded the Global Accelerator Network. We invested in innovative companies. So we are conducting scouting activities to really go and search for very specific technologies when we don't have them, or capabilities when it's sustainable capabilities when we don't have them. We do it as well, scouting people, scouting talents, let's say, for companies. So yeah, we don't pretend that we are experts in sustainability. I think it's because as well, sustainability is a very humbling topic. Sustainable transition is a very humbling topic, because a little bit like the digital one, there is no end to it. It's really an ongoing process. So yeah, I guess we're still learning.
Awesome. I think a learning organization is, for me, the most coolest thing right now, to just, not only teach, but also really also learn from these circumstances we're in, the future we're going to, and the role we can all play in this. So I'm always have been a fan of the atmosphere of H-Farm and the people. And one of the co-founders, Maurizio, dear friend, he always said he always calls it the H zoo, the human zoo for him. So it was the interaction and the venue where, through cross-pollination and ideas and a glass of wine, things happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, the spirit at H-Farm is very much like this. I mean, we will maybe have more time to talk about the campus itself, but exactly. Yeah, there is a lot of things that are quite special about it. Yeah.
All right, we come back to the campus and the architecture, let's say, in a second. Let's give the podium, the stage to Rui. Rui, you have been very successful in building up the, let's say, business school of Porto, where I first visited you. And so this was really already amazing what you did together as with corporates. And, we hit it off a couple of years ago when we met. So I'm really happy now and welcome you again officially to your new role at the most beautiful campus. So for me, your leadership as well as location now is a perfect match, to even be more excited about Nova. Tell us a little bit about your role. You just started. You must be full of energy and excitement, and probably have all the official input as well. What your location is all about. So here's your stage. Please give us a little bit of an intro about your role.
Thank you so much, Harold. Hi, everybody. Absolutely excited to be now at Nova School of Business and Economics. It's really a wonderful place, but more importantly, it is indeed a wonderful ecosystem. So the Nova School of Business and Economics, it's relatively new university, 40+ years. So for Portuguese standards, as we have universities that come from the 15th century, that's new. But the spirit of being a new, actually Nova stands for new in Portuguese, of being a new university is really embedded in our DNA and everything we do. And on top of that, the Nova School of Business and Economics really engaged during the last decade on this common purpose of becoming one of the most excellent business schools in the world. So this tremendous ambition led us to first invest a lot in our academic and scientific excellence, and we have indeed increased our capabilities on that, and therefore our reputation has also risen. We are on top 25 in the world in some of our programs in finance and economics and so on. Simultaneously, we also became a very international, and I would say we are driven by the world. So right now, 70% of our students are international. Everything we do here is in English. We really have a global mindset. And then the cherry on top of that cake, the new campus. So it was a wonderful endeavor in the last decade since our dean dreamt about that and becoming a reality. And the reason, it's not because we built a campus. That's relatively usual. It's how we built the campus. First, the location we chose right on top of the beach, and when I mean beach, I mean literally on the beach. So our playground, our students' playground, is the beach, literally. It really is symbolic to the sense that we open our horizons. What we see when we raise our head and look into our horizon is the sea, and the sea is an endless possibility for our students and for ourselves. So we are looking at everywhere in the world from our campus. We have a great spotting view to everything that has happened in the future, that will happen in the future from our campus. But also the way we built the campus, because everything, all the resources we got to build this campus were raised through corporates, alumni, and so on and so on. So no public money was invested in this campus, even though we are a public university. So it was a collective movement, a community engagement movement, not only to fundraise, but especially to co-create a new purpose, and so we did that. We raised more or less 55 million euros to build the campus. The campus has been operating for the last 3 years now, and from all this process that I just mentioned, these three main pillars: this excellence in science and academics, this international mindset, and a collective community movement towards the building of this new campus and what it stands for, really led to this next stage we are in, and we have redefined our purpose. And it has been a co-creative process. We have redefined our process and now our purpose, and now we are a school to create a better sustainable future for everyone. So this is our purpose. This is why we exist, and everything we want to do and we are already doing is in line with that purpose. So the innovation ecosystem that I get the chance to coordinate and lead at this moment, or shall I say to orchestrate in some sense, really leverages on this idea. First, the amount of outstanding things that happen inside our campus is ridiculous, actually. It becomes a maze. There are so many things. So we have normally, in a normal year, 5,000 active students, 14 knowledge centers. I don't know how many student clubs. We have 2 institutes, one for entrepreneurship, one for hospitality and tourism. Well, you name it. It's really almost exhausting just to understand everything that is already happening. But at the same time, we are extremely connected to our outside world. So we have a strong partnership with corporates. The building of the campus really is a living proof of that, but also it strengthen these links with the outside world, with public institutions, with private institutions, companies, startups, venture capitals, et cetera, and NGOs. So suddenly this campus and Nova becomes really a living lab for the future. So the innovation ecosystem tries to, in some sense, orchestrate and provide common sense and purpose to all these initiatives. I've been calling it my jazz band. It's my jazz band. So I have extraordinary musicians that really play to their strengths, my knowledge centers, my students, my faculty, and so on and so on. And every now and then, like any other jazz band, it feels like they are improvising. They are just playing for themselves, you know. They are great at the guitar, or the drummer is really setting the beat and, you know, is performing a solo and so on. And if you don't pay enough attention, it seems like chaos. But if you really close your eyes and hear well, they are a strong collective, and it sounds great together. So my job actually is to try to orchestrate this outstanding musicians, so that the music we play together makes even more sense because we play it together, and it's more purposeful because we are really aiming towards creating a better sustainable future for everyone.
Rui, this is sounds really exciting, and we can feel the energy. Do you have some examples of where sustainable innovation has been already part of maybe some of the collaborations with corporates or with NGOs or something within the campus of maybe the last year, or something you are actively starting right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, as Russ Lane also mentioned, we are not experts in sustainability. What we say is that everything we do needs to be sustainable by default. So we embed sustainability as a given non-negotiable requirement on everything we do, and especially on the innovation that we try to develop in practice. We strongly believe in this sense of urgency, that the quantity and dimension of the challenges we all face as humanity really pushes us to gather all the efforts, all the innovation efforts to solve this societal, I would say, existential challenges. So it is, in some sense, first and foremost, our commitment. We commit to put our innovation efforts at the service of solving these equations. And the kind of things we do, really, I like to mention this idea of the living lab of the future. Yeah. We have 5,000 students active every year. They are the future consumers, the future customers, the future deciders, the future executives, the future investors, the future citizens. And we can validate the future with them. We can test the future with them, because they are the vast majority of our students are master students. So they already have some sense of maturity on one hand, but on the other hand, let me put it this way: life hasn't ruined them yet. So they are full with possibilities, everything is possible for them. So we put that energy at the service of this sustainable futures. Let me give you an example. We are co-creating with a company what we believe will be a benchmark for the future of work. It's an insurance company. They are worried about that because, as you can imagine, in the future, because of the demographics, because of the longevity of our population, the aging aspects, but also because of the way we will do work. The work insurance, the health insurance, more and more health insurance is a B2B product, because companies deliver this to their coworkers. So we are trying to co-create some scenarios for the future of working, where we embed, for instance, how can the future of work really be contributing to the reduction of carbon emissions, or to any other societal and inclusiveness and aspects. It's a good example. And what we do is that we test these future solutions with our students within our campus. For instance, our campus, the physical infrastructure, we have been using it to sandbox as a sandbox to create and validate hypotheses. And companies, for instance, the bank of the future is being co-created with our students in our facilities. So we have a bank agency here, and well, the students called it the Money Club, and it's a money club. And what they're doing is they're trying to envision within the financial sector, with a bank, with a retail bank, how they will work on, for instance, financial literacy, so that they can generate inclusiveness. And for me, that is a key element of sustainability, not only the environmental one, of course, the social aspects of sustainability. So these are a few examples. Let me outline another one briefly. We will gather 250 students that will work from worldwide. Guys, pay attention. We will open a call for master students all over the world, so that they can co-create with some cool companies future solutions for the oceans. We are standing in the beach, we are looking at the Atlantic Ocean, and we understand the power of the blue economy, but also the emergency on some solutions within the ocean. So here are a few examples.
Okay, let's deep dive into the ocean literally in a couple of minutes. You already spoke about your campus. I want to come back to Russ Lane and give you the chance and ask about, obviously, a little bit of the story about the campus. I think H-Farm, when you started literally in a farmhouse, was it 15 years ago or 10 years ago? I think 15, but you tell me. and then your story from an agency to, I think, the first accelerator program in the world, because Y Combinator, famously, obviously from Silicon Valley, started 2 weeks later or something. So there's some history. Please share the story from, let's say, how innovation and learning started outside the totally traditional way, not in Milan, not in Rome or Venice in the city, but in the outside. And now coming to your beautiful campus, literally, which you just also opened up last year, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right. It's called H Farm because it actually comes from a farm. We are in the middle of the fields, and when you come to our campus, it's 90% greenery. So yeah, we started in a farm, building the first incubator in the world, and since then we haven't stopped moving and changing and evolving as the world evolved as well. And then we opened the school, and now we have this campus that we opened last year, that was built by Zanon Associati, an architecture firm that really geniusly requalified a disused military base into this campus. So and also there was some unused farms, so there was no added cubage into the campus. It was all requalification. They won obviously a lot of awards from that. And when you go to our campus, you have startups that are still there. You have education students, corporates, consultants, and it's really a mix, and that creates the ecosystem where we all there in the Serra. You've been, maybe it's a greenhouse, it's a giant greenhouse where, yes, because the gardeners are actually also employed by H Farm. It's not something that we externalize. They're really part of the life, yeah, of the campus, and so it's this mix of competence that really gives the campus its life and juice. And the campus is also obviously designed totally to be sustainable. We are LEED certified, which is a certification that you may of course know, regarding location, transportation, the site development, the water saving, etc. Our energy, we are 86% autosufficient energetically, thanks to all the geothermy, the photovoltaic panels, etc. We also encourage green mobility. For example, we have a little gamified a little game to encourage car sharing. So everything is an opportunity to be more sustainable. And by default, we planted more trees than we have students, because there are 3,000 students and people working on the campus, and we've planted 5,000 trees, among them some rare fruit trees that were about to disappear. So I think that's more the place, the campus, that creates all this energy. But ultimately, I would say that it's more of a mindset, the campus, because our students, when they evolve in a campus made of 90% greenery, and they are exposed to every day, every part of their life that has been designed to be sustainable, it obviously infuses on them. And we have a master on sustainability management, but more than the class, I would say that the H Farm's objective is really to create the condition for sustainable change to happen, without asking the students something sustainable. And this is what is also the beauty at Farm. We have an example of a student, a 15-year-old student, who built a beehive from scratch, involved a local beekeeper, created the website, created a crowdfunding campaign to be able to adopt a bee, and then receive the honey made from the beehive. And then not only she made this project, but she made also the guidelines to make it scalable for other schools to do the same. And we never asked her, you should do a sustainable project. she just did it because she thought it was the right thing to do. That's also why we have a lot of things to learn from the younger generation, and that's why also the campus is so wonderful. So yeah, this student won a prize for impact, and I think it shows us the way on how it's not just about creating some solution, but it's also we have to keep in mind on how one solution, one green initiatives can also create impact, and how to replicate these efforts. And for that, I think the campus is the perfect environment for it, really.
And tell us about the building and Mr. Rogers, right, who built this. Is it the Grand Auditorium, and how many people can go in there?
Oh, I wouldn't know. When we host people, I wouldn't be able to tell you how many people we can gather in there, but it's roughly it's 1,000. It's absolutely huge. I mean, there is a tractor, a real tractor at the entrance to give you a sense of scale, for example. Yeah. So yeah, it is actually huge. Yeah.
Okay, so the architect who built it was also famous for building the Centre Pompidou, and unfortunately passed away like just 2 weeks ago, I think.
That's right.
I forgot his first name. Is it Ray Rogers? Well, the architects and somebody will give us the comments maybe.
That's right.
So because we obviously have people on the interwebs watching us who a lot of them come from corporate innovation, and this has been also a centerpiece for both of your organizations. So let's talk about, let's say, maybe the innovation part and where the situation we're in right now. So what can you share from your experience, maybe from the last year, being also stuck or non-stuck, and our, let's say, new world, our in-between, the 2.2 version this year of 2020, or are we already going into a new version? What is your feeling right now? How can innovation work within working from home and less real physical human interaction, but also, has there been something as a chance to either go deeper? Was there something positive about the last 1 or 2 years in maybe reflecting and or maybe an openness towards more radical change? How do you see, change as a culture, which you mentioned, but also, let's say, innovation as a driver to help our society moving forward in the right direction? So I always somehow compare that we are we're not in this kind of digital transformation which took 30 years too long to just kind of cooking the frog a little bit. And then when people talk about sustainable transformation, I get already a little bit heated, because we don't have 30 years time, obviously, to do the same thing. Now, for me, a metamorphosis is literally right now we're in a cocoon, right? So we have been a caterpillar. There's been something there. Now we are like looking forward, where we're kind of rearranging all the genes, all the systems, everything. The caterpillar didn't know that there's a chance to be a butterfly coming out there. Beauty and sustainability, innovation, a new form, a new life form for all of us. But as we see, some of parts of society and a lot of people rather want to be back to be a caterpillar, and then maybe people want to deep dive into cocooning right now. Could be the metaverse, right? Oh, I rather want to be comfortable at home and don't really want to go venture out again. How do you feel at the beginning of the year, kicking off your energy, and what are you looking forward to? How do you feel? Let's also maybe just personal. What will maybe share some stories, maybe something which was either remarkable for the last years, or what are you looking forward to? How change from what you deal with, but how change is happening within society and or your ecosystem or your place. Is there something both of you can share?
Sure. I think it's interesting when you said we don't have 30 years because for the sustainable transformation, like we did for the digital transformation. But I still believe that there is a lot of commonalities between the two. Because when a company can come to us to say we would like to launch a more sustainable product, maybe this product will end up being refillable, and then it will become a subscription service. And then this company that it was used to distribute a product at wholesale needs to all of a sudden be able to distribute a service direct to consumer. That is a massive change. Yeah. It's a massive change in terms of organization, business model, of capabilities. Everything about that is about change. It's not only about the sustainability, but it's about change. And I think this is where we were not expert in sustainability, but we expert on change, and this is where we can help. The only thing is we have to do it quicker. And for that, I think we come back again into the mindset. Where, of course, it's good to document, to have process for things, but it's also good to empower people at all levels to be able to do some change. And if I go out of the corporate world a little bit, but because it made me think about this. In the school, a 10-year-old went to our CEO Ricardo Donadon and pledged his case to say we should go paperless on campus. We should stop using paper. 1 year later, we were paperless. So it's a change that needs to come at all levels, right?
Yeah, very good.
We should take also very seriously the younger generation and not judge them and not wait for all the change to happen at a goal or a roadmap perspective, but take the opportunity for the change to come where it comes from, right? So this is really my resolution, or something I really look forward, let's say, for the year to come. Yeah.
Awesome. Rui, share a little bit of a story of change.
You know, let's go back 30 years to Jack Welch, you know, when he said, if the rate of change in the outside exceeds the rate of change in the inside, the end is near. Well, he mentioned this he said this pre-internet, and he was right at that moment. Less he knew that he would be absolutely right for this day and age. The question here is no longer if the rate of change on the outside exceeds the rate of change on the inside. It's when and how we will deal with it. It will happen. It is already happening. What we saw during the last two years is an increased acceleration of the rate of change. It was imposed by a pandemic, but you know, we have heard that, for instance, in terms of digital transformation, we did more in the first 6 months of the pandemic than in the previous 10 years. But by the way, we were only adopting old technologies and old possibilities. There was nothing substantially new. It was a matter of perception, and it was a matter of reality. How, you know, I'm in a business school. I've been in business schools for the last 5 years or 6 years. So I'm becoming more and more of a pragmatic in that sense. You know, we have relied in the last decades on this notion that it was the moral and ethical imperative to solve and address some of the main challenges, both social and environmental. And so we relied on that. I love humans, but humans are very cynical more and more. So, you know, nothing is more human than ethics and moral, but it wasn't enough. What we're seeing now, and this is my, that's why I'm so excited and in some sense anxious for the next couple of years, is that finally we created something, a better trigger to solve these challenges, is that we are now understanding the business case of it. So it's not only the moral and ethical imperative, it's the right business decision. And that, my friend, is a powerful driver. So I want to be, we need to be pragmatical. Let's take advantage of that driver. Companies and decision makers and so on are addressing these issues because they are afraid of the rate of change on the outside. And they understand that a new generation of consumers, of workers, will really determine that adoption of a new way of doing business, where profit is important, but it's not the end, it's a means to an end. We use profits to really address a triple bottom line approach. We still want to pay salaries, we still want to distribute dividends. We are not questioning that. I'm from a business school, and a very liberal one, and may I say, but we know that we can do more and better with that, and when we can do, companies can create better sustainable futures for everyone, from their employees to their supply chain, and so on and so on. So it's a powerful engine, and what we need now to do, and I really believe that, to take advantage of this, of that goodwill that now exists. Companies want to, they have realized that it's no longer enough to be future ready. You need to be future driven. You need to risk. You need to co-create new futures. We are excited to understand how companies can really adopt innovation to drive that idea further. The size, the magnitude of the challenges will only be solved via innovation. We need complete transformation. It is a one case. I'm a very you know that I'm by nature a simple professor of innovation. That's what I like to do. I'm a strong advocate of the incremental innovation, by the way, strong advocate. The size and magnitude of these challenges will not be solved only with incremental innovation. We need complete transformation. So we're asking companies to be incremental in their core, because they need to distribute dividends, they need to pay salaries, they need to be competitive, but simultaneously, as a matter of survival, not only to thrive, they will need to create new solutions, transformative solutions, and only innovation, and in particularly technological innovation, or let's put it like this, digitally enhanced innovation, will have the capacity to address the magnitude of the challenges.
Okay, strong words. I think we are opening up now the questions to the audience, and if there are already some, please, or if you have not typed them in, please share them now. I wanted to introduce also Mila to see if we have questions from the audience, and then we weave them into our conversation. So if you have a question or two, just pop in. I wanted to ask you maybe one question before we do this, and maybe I just give you a little bit of an intro also to let's say why we choose obviously HFarm and Nova, because we are running with our temperature, feel, and the hope we have, we're returning to running also corporate executive programs this year. So where we will return to HFarm, which was sort of our first campus to run the program, 2018. So we will come there in October, and also we'll plan to collaborate to find the right date in June for Nova, and be part of the beautiful campus. And but we're kicking it off in April with going to the camp in France, and there will be more information in our newsletter. So please subscribe, and then see if you can be part of this journey. But from our journey from running the corporate executive events, we obviously developed the online lessons and online leadership programs, Moonshot Thinking Masterclass, which runs again in March, as well as the Leadership in Sustainable Innovation and Execution Program, LISI for short, which also is running throughout the year, and there will be a couple of new additions also we're working on. So we probably have a question. How about Mila, you want to join in and share a little bit?
Yeah, hey. So Gregory Millen asks, how do you define sustainability, and are you talking about sustainability based on liberal growth economics?
So that's probably a question to Rui.
To Rui, yeah.
Yep. My approach, our approach to sustainability is a triple bottom line one. We need to, as in innovation, we have been trying to find the sweet spot between feasibility, desirability, and viability. In sustainability, we need to find sweet spots that really cover social, environmental, and economic sustainability. So this is what we are aiming for, the notion that we need to create shared value for everyone. And the concept of shared value needs to encompass the economics, okay, but needs to go also in a clever way beyond the economics. So for instance, we haven't been, when we produce a t-shirt, and we know we can produce a t-shirt for €1 or even less, okay, we are actually not accounting for all the costs because we haven't been internalizing environmental costs, for instance, or even some social costs. So we need to have a new set of economics that really also encompasses these costs. And when they calculate a return on investment and payback and margin, EBITDA, we need to go also to encompass the social and environmental profit concepts. Okay, this is the what we believe in. Some people have been calling it the stakeholder capitalism. You call it what you want. There are, of course, some lines of thinking that really target the notion that it was economic growth and the drive of economic growth that led us this far, so we need to reinvent. Actually, I am an optimist. I'm an innovator, so I need to be an optimist. I actually look at that glass half full. It was indeed economic growth and the notion of the pursuit of economic growth that brought us here. And here we mean, let's be honest, the best time to live in this planet ever. We haven't been this healthy. We haven't been living this long with the quality of life that the vast majority of the population in this planet has any time before in humankind. Of course, it hasn't solved all the inequalities, and it was done at the cost of our natural capital. So we need to reinvent. So what I've been claiming is that it's not to, I don't see the need to drop the notion of economic growth. I think we need a better growth, a more intelligent growth, one that really encompasses the three pillars, the triple bottom line approach. So as a School of Business and Economics, where we are devoting ourselves to create new models of intelligent growth.
I think that I want to debate a little bit here, and please, Russ Lane, if you like to share your opinion. If you say we have the best time ever, I think I would probably argue that, okay, let's go maybe back like 5 years or something, because especially in the last 2 years, I think there were just some numbers coming out. The 10 richest men obviously made so insane amount of money in the last 2 years from and with electronic, online, digital services and whatever they do, the Bezos and Zuckerbergs and Elon Musk and Bill Gates and so on and so forth, Warren Buffett. And at the same time we're going back, that poverty goes up again, and that we were on a good track going solving these world problems. But I feel that we know the design thinking was coming in, because before people were just thinking about the product and a better widget, and then design thinking say, oh, we have to bring in also human-centered design. We think about what is good for human. And I think we are urgently back at or at a new stage where we say, okay, now we have to do planetary design, right? So we have to put our planet first and then see how we serve in this environment the human person, and then later the customer and the consumer. But that consumerism drove us also into a too much of a liberal way. I think that's at least where, if you zoom back 2 years, all of a sudden this gets much more talked about, and it's more.
I agree, Harold. I was. Let me just so underline and correct a little bit my point. I was addressing the macroeconomic historical time, almost since agricultural revolution, first industrial revolution, and so on and so on. So this led us here, and it was the notion of economic growth. But I do agree with you. In the last not only 2 years, I would say in the last almost decade. Let's go back to the subprime crisis and everything that came afterwards. Yeah. Inequalities have been raising. We haven't been that good at addressing the climate emergency. So indeed, I think this last decade, and in particular the last 2 years, made, and sorry to say this, it's quite cynical, but it made a great case for the transformation that we need. Right. We finally understood that the model of economic growth that brought us here, and it was in some sense outstanding evolution for humankind, it no longer serves the purpose because it's destroying our natural capital. And guys, it's addressing the natural capital issues is no longer just a moral and ethical thing. It's a business decision. You know, can you imagine all the companies that make billions out of natural capital, and the notion that their business will be completely reinvented because consumers will say so, and then as soon as consumers will say so, governments will follow along. Actually, it's quite interesting because consumerism accelerated the rate of destruction, but it will most likely will also be consumerism that will accelerate the rate of transformation, because consumers are saying enough. Yeah. We don't want, and it's an educational transition, it's a generational transition, but it's quite interesting paradox. So I see this notion of reinventing capitalism from within, not just from revolution. Okay.
There was a follow-on question from Gregory talking about what is about shared value and equity for the planet. I think this was sort of we just discussed. Now, Russ Lane, I want what is your take on it? And you are also among a lot of young people. What do you think? Are they ready for building something new? You had examples of the young, people building beehives. But how about the older students and who are maybe also working together with the outside world, corporates or your university and so on? How do they feel? Are they anxious? What's about their mental health? Because if I would be a young person, they haven't seen maybe all the upswing, but they see also a lot of doomsday scenarios. What is sort of the temperature? How do you think your students around you and you feel about the future and where we are in right now? You're on mute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think they are the students today, not the small students, but really the one that are grown-ups, a master degree, etc. They I'm also piggybacking on what Marie was saying. The transformation comes from also a new consumer mindset, and they have very high expectation, and I think it leads corporate as well to find a way to be relevant in tomorrow's world, because otherwise they will just not exist anymore. So it's something that the new students that come on the market, not just the employment market, but also as consumer, they are asking, and this bold question leads to obviously a lot of changes, and these changes can lead to innovation. So I think I can't really talk about their mental health state, but I would say that they have highest expectation more than ever, and we need to start from there because we need to also be good ancestors, I would say, borrowing this notion from Roman Krasnick, and trying to also have long-term vision on this short sight challenges that we live day by day. And it's our role to incorporate this long-term vision. I think the younger generation have already incorporated, and so they are way ahead, and certainly the students have it.
Cool. Mila has another question.
Yeah, so we have a few, but we can start with Tom Peach. What is the role or impact of humans versus technology in defining a sustainable world?
Ooh.
So this question is for all speakers, both of your opinions.
Can I share my 2 cents?
Sure.
You know, if humans try to fight artificial intelligence in that camp, we will lose. Okay, so artificial intelligence and everything that is connected, so digital technology, they will automate everything that is bound to be automated. So for us to really leverage on what we are and what we can do, we have to play to our emotional intelligence. So I think the future will be built out of the combination of artificial intelligence with emotional intelligence. You know, if you have kids, young kids, try to show them a little bit more of philosophy, of psychology, sociology, ethics. We will be in extreme need of these very human sciences, because it will be about the empathy, the creativity, the imagination, the consciousness. We will have to make, you know, extremely hard moral and ethical decisions. You know, you own your own autonomous vehicle. The autonomous vehicle needs to make a decision. Who will the autonomous vehicle protect? First and foremost, the owner of the car, or the least likable to you know, get hurt or something like that. Those are very hard decisions, and we need to.
The owner of the car is a DAO, so you're not the owner of an autonomous vehicle anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. So you know, it's really about playing to our emotional intelligence, and I think we will thrive more and more on that. We have been pushing a lot our kids to go to science, technology, engineering, and math. That's great, but you know, technology is learning by itself more and more. So I think it's the time that we make the case for arts, for philosophy, for moral, ethics, psychology, everything that is social and human, because we will need to level the playing field there, so that emotional intelligence is the driver of artificial intelligence.
All right.
Yep, I would say as well, I'm totally agree with Roy's approach. I think that there is no technology solutionism. It's not, technology will not save us, it will not doom us either. It's really how we want to use it and how we make it accessible as well. I think we talked a lot about environmental sustainability, but there is a whole range of accessibility and inclusivity that we still need to work a lot onto to make this technology, when they are helping, more accessible. And on that, I think there is a lot of resources to invest, to understand a bit better how to do it. We try to do it in our own way, because all the topics that we are confronted to, we obviously we work with corporates, but sometimes there are some topics that we are not paid to explore. So the most advanced topics, artificial intelligence, we have the capabilities, 3D and VR, we have the capabilities, and we can already have some projects that are on this range, but some topics like accessibility or inclusivity, we're not necessarily paid to explore them, but we choose to invest R&D money for it, and dive and to understand the state of the art. And we do it as well in a very horizontal way, because we have a system of crews where anyone can propose a topic if he managed to convince 2 people to join this group of work, and then with a one pager, if the topic is voted, he's getting allocated a budget and works for it for 6 months. And then we get really a chance to invest in topics like accessibility, inclusivity, and that helps us afterwards to make technology relevant, because the technology capabilities we already have. So I think it's the balance between technology, what it can bring, and how to make this technology accessible as well.
Cool. We have one closing question, Mila, because we only have the time for maybe 1.5 more minutes or 2. So if you could give us a question from Elena, I think it was great.
Yeah, so this is interesting, from Elena Malakatka, one of our faculty members. She asked, how do you think the idea of academia in general will change, and the education process in particular?
So, and you have only 1 minute for your probably passion question. So this is a good question. Please go ahead, a closing statement where innovation is leading academia.
Lifelong, learn, unlearn, relearn, more and more personalized, more and more, playing with the data and artificial intelligence to co-create learning journeys that are attached to the idea of life design. We want to design our lives. We want to take a role in designing our lives. We don't want just to be pushed around by the next job opportunity. And education can be will be a huge part in that. So I think academia goes beyond the notion of providing grades and things like that. It becomes a lifelong learning service, and as a service business model with recommendations, personalization, customization, but strongly attached to the notion of designing your life.
Final word from Venice.
Yeah, I would say that ultimately it's about empowering the students, and not only the students, but as a lifelong journey, because we still have to learn a lot. We saw it with the sustainability topics. We all have to learn a lot and continuously. So I would say that the role would really to have all the ingredients, bring forth all the ingredients to be able to empower people, and to not absorb passively, but really to be active of their own change. Yeah.
All right, thank you for being so brief and giving us a chance to close on time. Thank you so much again for all of your attention. I see, maybe we can show the map again. You are really from a lot of different places from around the world. Thank you for having us here in the morning and giving us your attention. Sending sort of virtual in this Davos week. We hope to go back to a physical Davos reception and engagement throughout the early summer. And as we say, oh, look here, from the US all the way to, wow, New Zealand, amazing. Hopefully you're safe with a volcano and everything. Again, we are looking forward to running our CXO events, executive programs together with HFarm and Nova as these beautiful locations of the future of learning and sustainable innovation. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Russ Lane. Thank you, Rui. And thank you, team, for hosting us here. And see you again. We have these monthly wake-up calls. If you have any ideas, questions, please reach out to us at the team through hello@future.io. And again, subscribe to the newsletter to keep updated on our learning journey, our common learning journey for this exciting year. Have a happy new year, and enjoy your day, the rest of the week. And see you very much. See you soon. Thank you.